Do you want to get ahead of 97% of the competition of other founders and build a unicorn startup? And I'm not talking about a regular VC backed unicorn. I'm talking about a YO unicorn, a unicorn built on what you want, your expectations, your lifestyle. If that's you, it's resonating with you, it's causing something to stir deep within, stay till the end of the video. I have a special offer where I want to spend some time with you as your advisor at startups.com. Welcome to Founder Fridays. This is where I'm going to forego the usual introduction and I'm going to talk about my reflection as a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits and what I'm experiencing as a startup advisor working with so many other founders out there who are trying to raise capital, trying to build their own YO unicorns, trying to find success and really navigate this whole ecosystem of being a founder. I want you to stick around for this because, like I said, I got a very special invitation for you because I've been having so much fun meeting so many new founders out there. Last week, I gave a live workshop at my local Startup Innovation Center, government-based incubator program, whatever you want to call it, the local ecosystem. And I had founders in a room and I taught them a system on how to do fundraising using AI and specifically about pre-seed and seed. I like to do this every once in a while because it helps me stay fresh, helps me stay connected and grounded to my roots where I live. When truth be told, I am advising founders all over the world through startups.com. I've got hundreds of founders, thousands in our alumni program. So I have the benefit of connecting to an international group, a global group of founders to help the global ecosystem. But it's nice to do things local. It makes me feel like I'm a hometown kid. But there were 65 people that RSVP'd for the workshop. And guess how many showed up? 16 people showed up. And furthermore, I gave an invitation for people to contact me to get more help from me. And out of the 65 people and the 16 people that showed up, only 2 reached out to me, got me thinking about what it really takes to be a successful YO unicorn founder. If I had to think about the one thing that gets you started on this journey, I boil it down to one thing, and that is you need to have integrity to show up. Let me repeat that. You need to have the integrity to show up. Don't get me wrong. Don't show up for me. Show up for your startup, for your customers, but most importantly, show up for yourself. Demonstrate to yourself that you have the integrity of what it takes to be a startup founder. Now, before you start thinking integrity seems like a pretty abstract word, and I'm going off the beaten path here, let's define integrity. Integrity is when something is the same on the outside as the inside. You've heard of structural integrity, such as in a plane, you have to have the same integrity on the inside as the outside, or the plane basically starts to implode. Therefore, the building of the materials is super important. It's like with any ship. That's what sunk the Titanic. There was an integrity with what was happening on the inside with the external forces of the icebergs. And it's the same thing with startups. Startups can sink at any point in time or crash because there's a lack of integrity. But I'm talking about character integrity. And that's where you are the same on the inside as you are on the outside. And that has everything to do with showing up. When a founder comes to me and says, Ed, I'm going to have my pitch deck ready, or I'm going to go and do these steps to get traction, work on my startup by this period of time, and they miss that deadline, they are lacking integrity. They don't have the same thing on the outside as what they committed to on the inside. And what happens is that slowly starts to eat away at you. And in the long term, you have the negative effects where you won't have the momentum. You don't have the internal fortitude, the resilience to withstand all the external pressures that happen with doing a startup, especially if you want to become a unicorn. It's one thing to have the external pressure of VCs, which makes you have to have integrity with your investors, but it's another thing to be able to set something out on your own and say, this is what a unicorn is to me. It is a unicorn to you and your standards and what you want, and stick with it. That can be incredibly difficult. And I acknowledge that so many things get in the way, but this is what we need to talk about because you have to commit to showing up for your startup, for your customers, and for yourself, most importantly, which demonstrates that you have integrity to all 3. Let's start with showing up for your startup. That makes a lot of sense. You just actually have to show up and you have to start building product, talking to customers, and you have to be understanding that without you, your startup does not happen. And so many times founders isolate themselves or they find other things to do. They say, I don't have time, don't have the resources. Truth be told, you'll always make time and you'll always generate the resources for what you want to. That's where integrity to yourself is really important. But next, you have to show up for your customers. You have to be present because that's what they want. They don't want to do business with a widget, with a software, with an AI bot, especially in the beginning. They want to know that you are active and that you are involved. And that's the reason you want to get upfront and personal. You want to go hand-to-hand combat with your customers. in a good way, listening to their problems, doing customer discovery, demand discovery, doing all the idea validation that you need to really get close and listen to your customers personally. Show up for them. Make them have confidence that you are the one with integrity, that when you say, I'm here to make your experience good, I'm showing up for you, that you will in fact do it. Now, let's say instead of committing to having my pitch deck done or working on my startup traction, I decide I'm going to take the weekend off and just play video games. Then I don't have to experience the guilt of not having integrity with myself, because if in fact I go and play video games for the weekend, I do have integrity. And that's where decision making is incredibly important. Don't overstretch yourself. Don't overcommit. Don't outpunch your coverage, to use a football term. Then you are going to grind the gears, and it's worse for you to commit to something, just like a New Year's resolution, and not follow through. That actually has more adverse long-term effects than not making any commitments whatsoever. And that's important. When you say, no, I'm not going to do it, or guess what, I'm not going to overcommit, you're having integrity to yourself. And that actually helps build your resilience, helps you build the character, because at least you're making that commitment and you're following through. That's why in the beginning stages, I always say, as your advisor to you as the founder, you're probably wrong and I'm probably wrong. And we need to just show up and do the proper experiments to validate or invalidate our assumptions. Don't bite off more than you can chew and make these assertions of grandeur in your hypothesis. Your assumptions are blown out of proportion. Just say, I think this is the reality of what I'm dealing with. Here's how I'm going to go and experiment with it. That's showing up for your startup. But showing up for your customers means you're doing things that don't scale. You're willing to have the one-on-one conversations with them. You're willing to do your own customer service calls. And that starts off with sales. You're showing up for them and you're saying, guess what? I'm making a commitment to you to do this thing. If you can't follow through, don't make the promises, because that's going to hurt you in the long run. It slowly chips away at you. And if your customers can't trust you, as they say, you do business at the speed of trust, and speed creates velocity, and investors want to know that you're creating that trust. How can you expect to have trust with your investors, with your co-founders, with anybody else that you're working with if you're not taking care of your customers? But showing up for yourself requires you to go through the process of personal discovery, self-awareness. You need to know what you're about. You need to know how you're wired, and you need to get a big dose of that reality and know that you don't have to be the other types of founders. You don't have to show up just like them, those other unicorn founders backed by VCs. You can show up as you, the YO Unicorn founder. And this is where I want to encourage you and motivate you. Show up as you. Have the integrity, the courage to show up with your convictions of who you are. Don't be anybody else. Now let's go deep here. There is a quote by Charles Horton Cooley that I live by in terms of guiding me on this journey as a unicorn founder. It says, I am not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am who I think you think I am. This talks about the two sides, about internal reality, internal perception, and the external reality and the external perception, and how the two have to come together with integrity, because we are guided by this principle. We are constantly thinking who we are is based on what we think other people think we are, or what they expect we are. This gets particularly dicey when it comes to your customers, when it comes to being a founder, and especially when you get investors on your cap table. You're always thinking about what they think about you, and that's guiding your actions. The more you can get your thoughts on the inside aligned with thoughts from the outside, the more integrity that you'll have, the stronger of a founder you will be, and the more you will be able to show up as yourself for yourself, because you owe it to yourself to do that, because this journey is long and hard enough as it is not to do it. Now, if you made it this far, you might be thinking, whoa, Ed, this is way more philosophical and abstract than you've ever talked about. But that's what I want to give to you here. I use Founder Fridays to reflect, and I want to share with you from my heart the very things that you are required to develop in yourself, this journey to not just become a better startup founder and build a YO unicorn, but to be a better citizen of the world, to be a better family member, a better spouse, a better parent, no matter what that is. That's my hope for you. And that's why I continually start to expand the different topics. I don't just talk about fundraising and pitch decks here. I want to get into the nitty-gritty of who we are and be open with you and share this journey with you, because as I always say, this is hard enough as it is. We might as well do it together as a community. So my question is, are you ready to have the integrity to show up, not just for your startup, your customers, but mainly for yourself, and not be the 63 people that didn't show up for my workshop, but be in the top 3%, the 3% that did show up and are asking questions, Are you ready to do that and start building your YO unicorn? And it doesn't matter what stage you are, you can start doing this, because I'm ready to help everybody, because I'm not here for the elite founders that are going to go to A16Z or get funded by Sequoia or Y Combinator. Now, if you become that, more power to you. And obviously, I'm going to be helping you, as I'm helping some YC founders right now. But I want to build the community where people are showing up for themselves and for each other, and we get the network effects of what we're trying to build at startups.com. It's been so much fun, and I just want to thank all of you out there who've already been showing up, who've been introducing yourselves to me. I'm having a blast meeting you all, and I've met some really great founders, and I'm super bullish on the potential of all your YO unicorns. Check the description of this video and check the comments, and I'm inviting you for a free 14-day trial with me at startups.com. Just spend 14 days with me. You don't even have to stay as a member after. Just get as much value as possible. I want you to walk away saying, I'm a better founder. I've learned how to show up. And I've showed up in a way that I've gotten encouragement from Ed, and this has been the most valuable experience. Ed's not pulling the rug on me. It's not a bait and switch. This isn't a clickbait. He actually has integrity, that when he makes a promise that he's going to show up for me as an advisor, and that is my integrity on the line as well. So test me on that. Challenge me on it. Come to startups.com for a free 14-day trial. Get as much value as possible as you can out of it, and I look forward to meeting you. As always, watch the other videos. I'm putting the playlist for Founder Fridays on the screen. Hope you appreciate this type of content. Let me know what you think. Do the YouTube thing. Like, comment, subscribe. Always super helpful. I'll see you next Friday.